Alright, is this thing on? I never know. It says I'm 5 seconds in. I have audio. Do I have video? And here we go. Alright. I have a little bit of time on a Saturday afternoon, so I'm just messing around with that Sierra Adventure game. And I gotta catch up on some stuff here, or at least try to get it to a certain point. I always work on trying to get it to a little further down the line, I guess, and then I walk away from it for a while. And the hard part is documenting it all out so I know where I left off and I don't have to do all kinds of research to figure out where I left off, step through code. Alright, so one thing I need to finish here is my inventory. So when I switch the room, that's cool. I have nothing in my inventory. And the last piece of the puzzle is to figure out a way. So I have pick up the thing, pick up the thing, pick up the thing. And those are just placeholder graphics I threw in there because I was just trying to work out the inventory garbage. So you were here in this room and you have the items in your inventory, red thing, blue thing, and a stick. Now you go into the next room and voila, they're back. And however, they're still in your inventory. The one thing I did, which may not have been the best idea, is have each one of these items specific to the given room. They're not controlled globally or by a larger overarching system that the game controls. But what I did is I'm working on this little doohickey function because everything you pick up is going to go into an array or a dictionary, which is just essentially looks like a JSON format. And this is our inventory. And it gets added to as you pick up items. We're just going to append information about that object into that inventory object or that dictionary. And inventory has, and that's happening on the object, I believe. So this is what happens when I walk away from it for too long. So if I go to room items, process delta input, if left click, if you are manipulate, that's the finger doohickey, which is going to pick you up your stuff. Global items, items equals items, pick up item. Okay, so I got this global function called pick up item. And I must have not had my head completely in my ass when I did this. So go here, here, and here. Print inventory. And this is where I'm adding that item to the inventory. So that all those items will be in here in this dictionary. Keep wanting to call it an array. But I need the last piece here. What I did this morning was come up with a little function that is going to look at on the every time the room loads, we're going to run this remove item from the room. So every time you kick off the room, there's a series of steps that go in that are involved in just establishing what's going on. What the heck is this? I don't know. I have that big stick, that big crowbar doohickey up here in the corner. I don't know why that happened. Oh boy. It's always something. I probably have something conflicting with it. Whatever. So these items, as you pick it up, they get added to that dictionary list. Added to that add it to that dictionary, and add it to that dictionary. What I want to do... I'm gonna get rid of that message. Where's that message? On the player, I think. So I got all kinds of debug code in here. Because Godot doesn't really have a way for you to step through code. You can kind of put bullet points down, or and see where it's hitting to evaluate the value at a given point for a variable or what a function's doing. But I end up doing all these goofy little print statements. I don't need them anymore, I don't think. Side 5. Alright, we're still getting that. New adventure. Here we go. Walking. Alright, cool. We got rid of that. Is that still happening here, though? Alright. And we have nothing in our inventory. What I want to see is what's in that inventory. So here's our inventory. Inventory has, if object is in there. Oh man, what am I doing here? Inventory has, okay, here it is. I just want to see this. Print. Okay. Let's see what happens if I go play. I'm just looking to see how that data is being presented in the dictionary. So if I go pick it up now, come here, bring it down, go back, kill it. You can see here how that data is laid out. So you got the metal bar, this is your value or your key, and this is the value. This will be sort of pieces of information about that value. So you got the metal bar, and I just threw some stuff on there that might be useful in the future going forward as the game, as it kind of progresses, that I could reference to. So is this for instance, is this metal bar combinable with something else? Can you do some small crafting with it? Just goofy things I'm thinking about as I'm working through this. So we got the metal bar, we got the blue dot, and then we got the red dot in our inventory, and then this would be all extraneous information about that. And we're not using it at this stuff at this point. We just are looking for a red dot or blue dot or metal bar. Okay. So then what I need to do is, I know it's in that, I know those items are in that inventory dictionary. And I'm going to I can't queue free this. Let me try. What is that? Queue free. I'm going to have it remove those objects right from the tree altogether. So in the clone chamber, in that starting room, what do we got? Room animation chamber. Reanimation chamber. Okay. I have this group or this node, and under the node, just trying to keep it a little organized, is I have my pickup items. So in these pickup items, we're going to check and just have them removed altogether from the scene tree. Because I manually put these in there. There's no dynamic placement or anything like that going on. And I don't think for what I'm doing here, I will need to do any kind of dynamic placement. I could if I needed to, I guess. But it should be straightforward enough where, for instance, the given scene, that's kind of noisy with all the stuff in there. See, Q-free is not the right syntax. I'm going to have to figure that out. That's a beautiful Google. All right, let's try that. So you can see the red dot, the blue dot, and the bar. Their entry in that tree is right there. There's the red dot. There's the metal bar, and I guess maybe I didn't give it a proper name because I was just lazy and in a rush and trying to work it out. That's probably what is going on there. But I have to figure out what this crazy madness is. Okay. So when I do the Q-free or figure out how to get those out of there, they should be removed altogether. So I have to check that out. And if you want to know how I learned Godot, it was Google, man. A lot of YouTube videos and Google. It's pretty easy, honestly. I mean, I guess it helps that I'm sort of familiar with coding. Familiarity breeds contempt, kind of familiar with coding. But let's try it here. So I'm going to look for Godot, how to remove an object from a scene tree. La la la. Q-free. See, it keeps coming up with Q-free. There's got to be a different way. If not re-adding, free the orphan node to prevent more leaks. Child to remove dot free. Oh, that seems crazy easy. All right. Is remove child the proper way, or could I do remove child? Yeah, I probably could do that. What does free do versus remove child? What is the better way to do it? All right, let's just try the free command before we start researching what the other methods might be. Maybe if we get this to work, that's a part of my issue is if I figure out a way to do it, I'll sort of move on. Kind of keep it in the back of my head that maybe there's a better way to do it. Oftentimes not really researching it. You know, going on to do something else like mow the lawn. But we're gonna give this a shot. Print item to remove. So we got the item to remove. And then the syntax for that mumbo jumbo is free. Fly, be free. Alright, there we go. So now if we have that item in our inventory, if the okay, so we're doing a loop on our node, our item node, which have been put in a group. I put them in a group called room items, so I can just repeat this pattern for every room, and it should be easier. It should be easy just to make rooms, or at least construct them quicker, faster, and with more strict structure, I guess. or a pattern, so I can just look at one and just follow the cookbook to put it together. All right, so we'll go here. Item to remove is free. All right, we're going to give this a shot. We're going to loop through our node of room items. So we got room item, room item, room item. There, you can see in the scene group, in the group setup, they're all groups, which is something you set up alongside of that item. You can just add a new group. I have look at group and the size position group. That's the size position doohickey that I use to scale the figure as it goes back and forth into the pseudo distance, I guess. But we're not going to get into that at the moment. We're just going to see if this works. So he's in our group of room items. We're going to loop through each one of those items. We got 3 of them. We go get the node from that node name based off that items in that group as we're looping through. If it's present, grant that name in our display here and then remove it. So this is going to fire off at the beginning of each room. So every time I initiate each room, it's going to do a check to see if any of your pickup items or key items are in that inventory dictionary, and if they're not, we're going to remove them. So this is going to run every time we enter a room. That's the player setup. Global remove. Every room's going to have this ready script. Global remove item. Okay. Then we're going to establish the player because we're placing the player dynamically, so we can, depending on where we enter the room from, room A to room B, we can set them closest to the door or a reasonable, logical location, or wherever we want, honestly. All right, let's give this a shot. Here we go. New adventure. Pick up our stick. Pick up our blue thing. Pick up our red dot. All right, now here comes the magic trick. Are we going to walk out of the room? All right, we are now in a different room. Here's our inventory. We got our inventory junk. Close the inventory. I go back. Ta-da! We're good. And we still have our items in our inventory. So what do we look like on our scene tree? Room items. Room items, that group has nothing in there. So this is kind of like a live representation of what you see in development mode. When you do the remote as it's running, it will show you all your objects, all your nodes in that tree as you're going. All right, so back to it. All right, that's cool. So that's one little item I had to work out. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna save this though. Get rid of that. There we go. Kick it off. New adventure. So we're gonna walk here. And maybe I'm going to go through real quick. How much time do I got? Yeah, I'll give it time. I'll put together another room. I do have one ready to go. See, now all this stuff is going to be puzzles. This door will be shut tight, and you'll have to figure out how to get through it. But for the sake of what I'm doing, see how he kind of comes out. Do I got that? All right, and there. And I can even. You could probably go so far as set the facing of the sprite depending on where you entered the room. This is a room with the scaling activated. Go up in here. Okay. This is kind of in progress. This room. Another scrolling room. I was using pathfinding for a while. I was using that Godot pathfinding stuff, but it wasn't working in these scrolling rooms. It was screwing up the... Actually, it was a combination of using the path navigation, the navigation region 2D, with the point and click, where the math is figuring out where you are and where you need to go. It was it was never the character was never walking to the end point. It was always, it looked like it was dividing it in half, dividing it in half, dividing it in half, and never actually getting to that final point. And if the click location or the character location ever equaled the final click location, which was his destination, you would just sit there marching and walking, never finishing where he was going. So if when I shut off that nav 2D, it stopped being an issue. I don't know why, and it was only affecting these scrolling rooms. Anyway, I'm yammering too much here. So what I want to try to do now is I just want to get the next room in place. It doesn't have to function. I'm just getting them established sort of as placeholders as I move through this, and I can fine tune each room as I go. And I'm working out the size for drawing. And the rooms are really the holdup because they take so long. I could work a week or two on one of these rooms, just drawing it and going for that look that I'm going for. All right, so I'm going to kill this and save everything. I'm just like a neurotic saver. Okay. I need to go to my rooms. Come on, rooms. Okay, we have the shuttle bay. We have the shuttle interior. That's where we left off. That we just were. I'm going to go create a new room, create folder, and this is going to be, what do we want to call this? Shuttle bridge or shuttle control, shuttle something. Shuttle cockpit. Bridge, I guess. We'll call it bridge. Okay, folder name is valid. Thank you for letting me know that. Shuttle bridge. And I'm going to take... What am I going to take? The shuttle bay is a simple enough scene, so I'm probably going to steal that. So I'll take all this stuff. Can I copy this? Move, duplicate. Alright, I hope this duplicates. So, rooms, shuttle bay, bridge, copy. Alright, there you go. So I'm hoping it's just going to be this easy. Now I can just kind of modify this. Oh, it didn't move it. That's fine. Alright, so that's perfect. So what it did is it brought our inventory and our control panel along. Now the inventory is actually its own scene, it's its own little program. The control palette is its own scene, its own little program. I won't get into it right now. I don't think it's probably wise to. Let's see what we got here. Okay. Come on. Brain. Okay. now we got a scene. Now we got a scene. Let me make sure I didn't screw anything else up. Shuttle bay, shuttle bay, shuttle bay. Shuttle bridge is there. TSM, TSM. Alright, we got a working scene going. And shuttle bridge. Shut that down, shut that down, shut that down. Okay, so this is going to be our shuttle bridge. However, we got to do some work to get it changed up. Obviously, the first thing I'm going to do is get our background in place. And this is our background that we're going to use. I need to make sure it's the right size, though. That's kind of how it starts off. Is I'll do this. I think I did these on like large sheets of paper. I drew them, pencil. Just took a photograph of them, a crummy photograph at that, and then painted them in Photoshop. I think I was using Photoshop at the time. Now I'm using Clip Studio because I ain't paying subscription for Photoshop, man. Nope. Alright, that's not good. That's not where I want to be. File open projects. Where am I going? Cancel file. Recent. Project Lost Cosmos. Rooms. Okay. Open. What I really want to do here is I want to make sure that this cockpit room size matches this room size. So it would go here. I want to see file. Edit. Change it. Image resolution is 1024 by 768. Okay, so we're gonna say file or edit, change image resolution, keep it 300, 1024 by 768. Oh, look at that. It's perfectly proportional. That was not on purpose, trust me. So I'm gonna go save as. This is gonna be PNG cockpit. Yes, okay. So now we got that out of the way. Got the away. There we go. There's our sprite. Yikes. I have to find the thing on the folder and drag it in there. And there it is. There's our room finally. Ship cockpit. Okay, here we go. That's a long road. That was the long road home. All right, here is our shuttle cockpit. Ta-da! There we go. We have our shuttle cockpit. So now the goofy thing about this will be, when I first mess around with it, how does the character look when he's in the room? Do I gotta scale it or change it or do what I need to do to make it look not so stupid or ridiculous? Okay. And then what I need to do is go back to the ship interior scene. So here is my organized scenes. So here, back in the ship interior. This is the raw development scene, and you can see the collision areas. This is what I'm using to make sure the player stays within the given walk area. This is very much in design because I have to come up with a way, and I don't think it'll be that hard at this point, is you're going to come up and you're going to be on this first floor, and then you'll use a little elevator to get up here. So there's going to be a situation of hiding what collision areas that I want, what collision areas are going to show or be relevant or irrelevant given the context of the situation. And I'm going to redo this. I have this in layers, so I'm going to have to cheese out a walk behind thing. So I'll just put things that are supposed to be in front of the player, and have the player walk around in front and then behind appropriately. That'll work. I mean, it's not like AGI or Adventure Game Studio has ways to do that are cooler by selecting areas and designating them as walk behinds. And I have not come up with something like that for Godot. I've seen things like it. There's a system for Godot that has adventure games. It's like a little development overlay for Godot, specifically for Sierra style adventure games. But I don't know, it just looked like more to learn. Just figure out Godot and then work out your problems from within that development environment instead of learning this thing on top of it. And then you can use that Godot knowledge for other stuff. It will translate. All right, enough chatter. Let me see if I can get a door. So I have a door object already here. And then what this door does is it's going to transport you to the next room. Or just load the next room, really. And let's see if... We'll just see if we can get it that far. If I get it that far, I'll check the time and see if I want to keep doing this. Here, where's our floor? We're working on a floor. Come on, focus. Here's our door. And we're gonna put our door right here, right about here. And we're gonna shape it to something that is about what we need. Now, this is just an area that is going to detect the player, so when the player walks into this region, it'll do something. And that something, it'd be move you to the next room. There you go. Ta-da! Now we gotta do some setting up here. No, we should just be... Now, these are export variables. Export variables, and what that means is you have access to them as if they were properties on this little object, on your door object. And then you can set the values you can just reuse that object and set the value specific for that object. So I'm going to say, so what this little door footpad thing is going to do is going to send you to the next scene, and I need to get the path to that next scene, or right here, it's in our resources, and our bridge scene is here. And I got the path right here. Alright. Shuttle rooms, shuttle, background bridge. Alright, let's just see what this does. Scene, save scene. Where do I want him to pop out? Let's say 500. And then the starting position, this is just another one of those variables that you can put on the export, and this is going to be the location that the player is going to appear. So I'm going for roughly the middle of the room, and I'm just testing this thing to see what is it going to do. Alright, so now we got to march ourselves all the way there. Come on, dude. He's up and away. Okay, now here we go. Ready? Will we go into our next scene? Hopefully the answer is yes. Ta-da! Oh, look at how small he is. he's a micro. Alright, he's getting bigger. And I know why that is, because we want to shut off the scaling for this room. Because I copied it from the bridge. The bridge has that scaling situation involved, or enabled. But that is a minor victory, and I will take it. So how do I get rid of, I need to get rid of these size things. And I think I can do that simply enough, if I remember. Groups, scene groups. So I don't see the group set up here. What is it doing in the shuttle bay? How did I do that? Okay, there it is, there it is. Did I just delete it? What am I doing in the hallway? Come on, hallway, here we go. It's the hallway, and how is that happening? I don't have that size node here. So there's a check somewhere in the code that I had for the player to say if there was no size node, then default to no scaling. And as you could see, that shuttle bridge had that node in place. Let me see if I can just get rid of it. And hopefully that doesn't break anything. Ah, no, I don't want to blow it. Okay. I gotta rename this node. That scared me. I thought I was deleting something else. Shuttle. It's called bridge. Shuttle bridge. Alright. And then we're gonna get rid of these sizes. Boink. Get out of there. We don't need you. Let's hope we don't need you. Now let's give it a quick walkthrough. Here we go. Play intro. Now Godot has this whole way of doing cool animations and stuff. I've been watching people do some stuff just making movies with the Godot animation piece. It almost reminds me of an old Director, if anybody remembers Director. Director was fun, actually. But I want to do the whole intro and some of that cool stuff. Oh, I broke something. Oh, there we go. What's going on, man? Oh, I don't know. Strange. I think I was clicking in a no-click zone. Okay, we go in our ship. We go to the bridge. And ta-da. So, he still looks micro-y. I can either scale him up on entrance or scale this room down. Looks like I was not quite sure as to the size to make it, which is a little goofy. But I can try some stuff to, because ultimately what's going to happen is you're going to take a seat in this thing and get out of this place you are once you solve all the problems and fix the things to get to a point where you can escape this situation. Let me just try. I can hack this. Ugly, like, let me get rid of that. Collision polygon 3D. There you go. That's gonna give you a lot of black border. I can't. But I'm kind of doing this to see, like, what kind of adaptations I'm going to need to make to have this work out. It's like I just have these randomly shaped rooms or sized rooms. Okay, so that's good. Because I never knew, like when I drew the rooms, I just drew rooms. I just was doing stuff. And I didn't know how big the character was going to be in relation to that room I was drawing. And then you don't, like some of the stuff doesn't occur to you to actually sit down and start putting it together, how it's going to work. Okay, that's a little better, I think. Still looks kind of huge-ish. And I got an object in there, which is taking me all the way back. It warped me back to out of the shuttle bay back to the hallway. Let me just get rid of that. Get rid of that. Need to get rid of the collision and just, I'm probably going to want to keep that collision there, but disable mode, static, keep active collision, just move it out of the way, get it going for now. And then I got this walkway and this walkway. Which we don't need at the moment, so we'll just get them out of the way. Scale this down a little bit more. Okay, there we go. Oh, there's off. That's a little better size, and you can see I don't have any of the walk restrictions in place or any of the collision areas. That is a little more reasonable scale. And I don't know. would I have to see that this is where it becomes an interesting issue, because would I have to just draw out this whole thing, or could I fake it somehow, fade out these edges and make it look like I intended to do that, you know, artistic license, call it, because I could see my airbrushing this out to just kind of vignette it or give it like that look. That's a lot of black space, so I don't know. You don't know. Might have to put this back into Clip Studio and add some more square footage into this room. Alright, I think that is about as far as I'm going to take this at the moment. And I'm going to call it. Did make a little bit of progress that I feel a little better about than I did when I started. I got that goofy inventory situation worked out. Alright, that's that for this. Thanks for watching if you did.